So here are 8 names in Major League Baseball, 8 players that should be moved to new teams this offseason. Should be traded to it. It's just a new environment, and with some new opportunities. And I'm going to give you some teams that it might be a good fit. You might agree with some of these. You might disagree with some of them, but there's some logic behind it as well. So number 1 is Ketel Marte. I mean, he's been discussed for a lot of teams. He's a 27-year-old. He's on an affordable contract, $8 million in 2022, $10 million in 23. $12 million in 24. He's a free agent in 2025. He's a dynamic player. He's a switch hitter. Plays multiple positions. Steals bases. He's a good contact hitter. So overall, he's one of the more dynamic players, young players in baseball. To me, 4 teams seem like a logical fit: Toronto Blue Jays, Boston Red Sox, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the New York Yankees. Obviously, I would love for the Yankees to get him. It would really suck if the Blue Jays got him or the Red Sox got him. And I'm looking for them to be aggressive, either with somebody like this or one of the the big time shortstops, something like that. To that degree, I think Phillies will probably be more aggressive in the big shortstop market than the other teams. Boston has a top shortstop, but they can bring in somebody like Marcus Semien who can play second base. So I would still look out for those guys. But Ketel Marte is number 1. Number 2 is Josh Hader. He's another guy that's been talked about forever in trades. And even though Milwaukee's a contender now, this is probably the prime time, if ever, to move him. He's a free agent 2024, so he still have 2 more years of control. He's only 27 years old. He had about a 1.3 ERA this year. He's a nasty, filthy, dynamic left-handed relief pitcher. And the four fits for him: Toronto Blue Jays, Atlanta Braves, New York Yankees, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Either one of those teams could use another shutdown, lights-out left-handed reliever. And he'd be a good fit. And a lot of other teams, but those seem to be the most 4 logical fits for me. Number 3, German Marquez, starting pitcher from the Colorado Rockies. He's 26 years old. He's a free agent in 2025. He's pretty much their ace. And even though John Gray's a free agent now, this guy could still extract a pretty large sum in return. I think Trevor Story won't be coming back either, so it's time to accelerate the Rockies' rebuild. To me, the most logical fits are Houston Astros, Toronto Blue Jays, who really need a starting pitcher, New York Yankees, and the Los Angeles Angels, who desperately need a starting pitcher or multiple starting pitchers. Number 4, this one's probably going to get some people after me, Aaron Judge. Again, I've said this multiple times. He is the face of the franchise, but if I'm the Yankees, they need to make him their absolute best offer this offseason. And if he says no, then you got to trade him. There's no other way about it. Don't wait until next year. You won't have any leverage at all. He'll get, you'll have to pay $50 million more than you would pay, probably. He's going to capitalize on the market, which he should. But again, the Yankees have several holes, and this is a situation of move a big guy and get a lot in return, like the Red Sox did with Mookie Betts. And so it is possible. The franchise is not going to collapse if they move Aaron Judge. Okay, but this is the time to do it. Make your best offer. If he says no, I mean, again, it's going to be $200 million plus. So just know that right off the bat. That's the floor for Aaron Judge. Okay, and if he says no, you move him. Most logical teams to me are the Los Angeles Angels, Seattle Mariners, Atlanta Braves. Number 5, Byron Buxton. This guy's been kind of talked about in trades recently too. 27-year-old dynamic outfielder. He's a free agent in 2023. He was the number 1 overall prospect in baseball several years ago. He had some injuries and stuff like that, but he's kind of gotten back on track. He did recently turn down a 5-year, $80 million extension offer from the Twins. So, they're still a logical team for me, and I think the other logical team is probably the Miami Marlins. And I would look out for a couple other teams too, maybe the Houston Astros, one other team here and there. But that Miami seems to be a really logical fit for me, and they have the pitching prospects to give Minnesota back for a guy like this. But none of their top starters. They just have pitching prospects to give him back. Number 6, Josh Donaldson, and he's a 35-year-old, still a productive free agent, and he makes $22 million in 2022 and 2023, and then he has an option for 2024 for $16 million, or a buyout, I think, which is $8 million. So he's still under control through 2024, or through 2023 at the very least, and he's still productive. And there's some teams that I think might represent a good fit for him as well. Now keep in mind, the Cubs might be an option since I don't think Chris Bryant will be back, and if they do want to bring him back, he's going to cost a hell of a lot more than Josh Donaldson. And I think the Mets are a good fit for him too. So those 2 teams, to me, I think represent the more likely fits for Josh Donaldson, who could use another right-handed bat with some power and some pretty good defense. Number 7, Wil Myers. He's been with the Padres for a little bit. This guy's a journeyman of all journeymen. He's been around forever. He's like 30 years old, but it seems like he's been playing for 20 years. He's still a pretty productive player. He has a teammate, Eric Hosmer, but Eric Hosmer is tied up for a lot more money, and he seems to be a little bit of a malcontent, according to some people. So I think Wil Myers will be a more easier guy, and he's still a productive player. So he's got $22 million due to him in 2022 and $20 million due to him in 2023. He could also be a good option for quite a few teams: Houston, Boston, also the Cubs, also the Marlins. It might require San Diego to eat some salary, but if they can get some relief, it will clear up some money for them to invest in some other areas like relief pitching and stuff like that. So those seem to be a good, logical fits for him as well. And last but not least, Wilson Contreras, the catcher for the Chicago Cubs. Him and Kyle Hendricks would finish their complete overhaul, but he's on a controllable contract for one more year. He's a free agent in 2023. Still one of the better well-rounded catchers in baseball. Great game caller, fantastic defensive catcher. His offense is pretty solid too, but I could see him being a fit in San Diego, and I think he would do much better with that pitching rotation and that bullpen than their current catchers are doing. So I think he would really, really help some of those guys. And they have Mike Clevenger coming back next year from Tommy John too, so I think he'd be a good fit there, or Houston Astros where he'd be a good fit, or the New York Yankees where he'd be a great fit actually. He's on the same type of trajectory contract-wise as Gary Sanchez, but the Yankees need an upgraded catcher, somebody more consistent. Wilson Contreras to me represents an obvious fit there, but we'll see what happens. But those are my 8 guys who I think should be moved and some logical fits for them. There's more guys, but I wanted to bring up these guys in particular. There's some more obvious ones, but they're going to be part of my blockbuster trade videos, which I'll be doing soon. And actually, my next video is going to be 5 franchise-altering blockbuster trades in baseball. So if you want to see it and you haven't subscribed yet, do that right now. Hit that notification as well so you don't miss it. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have a good day, guys. Later.